So this is your warm-up, and we're using the warm-up to start to mobilise the body, to mobilise the joints, to warm up the joints and the muscles and just get the blood moving from the body. We have a seated version and we have a standing version. So first things first, we're going to sit or stand nice and tall, little bit of engagement through your abdominal muscles, pull your belly button just slightly towards your spine, shoulders back, down and relaxed, nice and tall. And we're just going to start with a little march. So we're just going to start to march through those feet. Whatever pace works for you, whatever feels comfortable for you, just staying nice and tall, marching it through. If you're standing, you can hold onto your chair or a sturdy surface with both hands. You could hold on with one arm and let one arm swing through in time with your march. Or if you feel comfortable, you could go to a double arm swing. If we're seated, we can keep just the legs moving, or again, we can add in that little arm swing to start to mobilise through the shoulders a little bit. So we're just keeping that going, nice and steady, nice and smooth. We're just going to do 1 to 2 minutes, just keeping everything moving and starting to get all of those muscles and joints working as we want them to. So keep your pace. Keep it nice and tall. If you are standing at any point and you want to go back to holding onto the chair, that is absolutely fine. Again, as I said, it could be 2 arms, it could be 1 arm. It is entirely up to you. We don't want to be going too fast at this point. We want to be keeping it nice and smooth and nice and steady. It is just the warm-up. So just keep that going nice and tall. We're just going to keep going for another 10 seconds. 8, 6, 4, 3, 2 and 1. We're going to bring it down to a stop. So we're going to mobilise the shoulders next. So we're going to stay seated or stood nice and tall. We take the arms down by the sides, hanging nice and loose. We're going to bring the shoulders up towards the ears, push them back and then bring them down. So we're bringing them up towards the ears, taking them back and pushing them down. We want to make that movement as big as we can. We're going to do it 5 times. Back and down. So this is 4, lifting up, squeezing back, pushing down. 3, push back. You should be able to feel those shoulders starting to loosen up. The arms are just nice and long. We've just got one last one. Bring them up, push back and down. So we're going to move now to loosen up through our ankles. So we're just going to work one leg at a time. We're going to pop our heel down to the floor. We're then going to lift and we're going to tap our toe on exactly the same spot that our heel was. So we pop our heel down and tap the floor. We lift and tap our toe in the same spot. And we're going to do that 5 times. So we go heel down and toe. And we're really working through that ankle, getting that movement, loosening off that joint. Got 2 more on this foot. And your last one. And bring that foot in nice and flat. We're going to move on to the other side. So again, we've got a little lift. We pop that heel down. We pop the toe exactly where we lifted from. We swap out again for the heel and for the toe. And we're going to do that 5 times. So there's 1. Really thinking again of that movement. This is 3. And 2. And last one. And bring that foot in nice and flat. And your last exercise in this warm-up is going to be our spinal or trunk twist. So we're working the centre section of the body. So again, we are nice and tall. We're just going to fold the arms up if that feels comfortable. We're going to turn to one side, just as far as works for you. Bring it back to the centre and just pause. Turn to the opposite side. bring it back to the centre and pause. So only go as far as works for you. So we're going to do 5 each way, stopping at the centre every time. So this is 4. We've got 3 more. And your final 2. And just your last one each way. Just loosen up that spine. Bring it back into the middle, sit nice and tall, and we're ready for our main workout. So welcome to Strength and Balance Week. Now we've done the warm-up, we're ready for the main section of this programme, and this is working completely on your strength and balance, and all these exercises will help you to balance better when you're walking, getting up and down out of chairs, moving on public transport, and all those daily activities that we want to be able to do. The first exercise is our front knee strengthener or a leg extension. There is no standing variation for this exercise. It is done completely seated. So we're going to be sat on the front section of the chair, sitting nice and tall, abdominal muscles in, back nice and straight, hands nice and relaxed. We can just pop them at the side of the body if it works. This is going to strengthen the thigh and help to strengthen the knee. We're going to start on one leg. We're going to lift the leg nice and slowly, toes pointing up to the ceiling, squeezing through the thigh, slowly lowering down to the floor. We're going to aim to go for 10 on each leg. So we'll go with this side, so nice and tall, squeeze the thigh, lift the leg, slowly lower under control. We're just going to keep that movement going nice and smooth. So you should be able to feel we've got a squeeze into the front of the thigh. We've got movement through the knee. And we're just keeping it as steady and as smooth as we can. Only do as many as work for you. So if it's not 10, it does not matter. But we're going to aim for 10 if we can. And we're making sure we are sat nice and tall. Our shoulders are back and relaxed. We've got that little bit of engagement through our core. We'll do 2 more on this side. This is your final one. I'm going to swap to the other leg. So bringing that leg down, both feet planted, off we go on the other side. So again, we're squeezing through the thigh. We've got this movement through the knee. Our toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. We're keeping it nice and steady. And this is an exercise, if you had done it with a PSI or a falls prevention course, they may have given you some leg weights. This is a perfect exercise to do if you are utilising the leg weights, because that makes it work a little bit harder. We can create a little bit more strength into this front muscle. And that front muscle of the thigh, really handy when we're getting up and down stairs, when we're getting up and down out of seats. And it will help with any knee pain that you might be having. Strengthen up the front of the thigh helps with the knee. We're just going to do 2 more on this side. There's 1 and your final 1. And bring it down. You should feel like we've moved a little bit more in those. Our next exercise is our side hip strengthener. So this one can be done seated or standing. And again, we're using the chair for balance. You can either stand side on, or you can stand with both hands on the chair, and we'll show you both variations. So we're standing or seated nice and tall. So we'll start with a standing variation. We're going to keep our weight on one leg, and we're going to lift the leg furthest away from the chair out to the side and bring it back in. We're just lifting it to the side, using the hip and bringing it back in. If we are seated, we are tapping to the side and bringing that foot back in. And again, we're aiming for 10, so off we go. We're going to lift or tap and bring it back in. We want to stay nice and tall. We want to make sure we're not leaning the body, that we are lifting using the side of the hip and using the muscles in the side of the leg. And this movement's really good for things like stepping to the side to get out of someone's way if someone's coming towards you, for stepping in or out of the shower or the bath, the ability to lift your leg over an obstacle. I'm just going to keep it nice and steady, keeping nice and tall. We'll just do 3 more on this side. So we'll do 3. And remember, we're aiming for 10. If we don't get to 10, it doesn't matter. We just do as many as we can. So a final one. Going to bring it in. We're going to get our balance. So Ruth's now going to demonstrate if we had two hands on. So we're facing our chair, and again we're going to lift now on the opposite leg, or tap and bring it in. So again, we're staying nice and tall whether we are sat or stood. We've got a little bit of engagement through our core, and we're keeping the move really nice and slow and controlled. We're not swinging the leg, we are lifting and lowering. So just keeping it as smooth as works for you. Aim for 10. We'll do another 3. If you get there, it's great. If we don't, it's absolutely fine. So we've got 2 left. And your final one. And bring it back in. So we've worked the quads and we've worked the side of the hips. We're now going to move on to the calves, and this is going to be our heel raise. So we're going to stand or sit again nice and tall, feet about hip distance apart, shoulders back and relaxed. So in the standing variation, we're going to lift up onto our toes, so lifting the heels up and lowering nice and slowly under control. Seated version exactly the same. We're going to lift the heels up, squeeze into the calf, lower nice and slowly under control. And again, we are aiming for 10. So just lifting nice and slow, lowering nice and slow. Do use, if you are standing, your chair as support, and that may be both hands. It may be one hand. Do what works for you. Just keep it nice and steady. We want to be lifting nice and straight, so we don't want to be leaning forward. We want to be thinking about lifting straight up and controlling both the lift and that lowering movement as well, keeping it nice and controlled. And this is really good for things like when you have to reach up to put your shopping away into a high cupboard, when you have to reach to get something off a higher shelf, being able to just lift yourself up a little bit. Also really good on your balance when you may have to just move to one side and just be able to balance on one leg. We just want to be making sure weight nicely over our big toe. We'll just do 2 more here. You should feel that calf is warming up a little bit now. Last one. And bring it down. So the next one is the opposite of that move. We're going to do our toe raise. So again, if we're standing, we're facing our chair, so we've got it for balance. If we're seated, we're just going to bring our feet forward a little bit further. What we want to be careful on as we lift the toes is we don't stick out with the bum, especially when we're standing. So we're just going to pop our heels down. We're going to lift our toes up off the floor and lower them slowly under control. So again, it's the same move, seated or standing. Standing as the added addition of even more balance. And we want to think about keeping the hips just tucked under, not sticking the bum out, trying to lift nice and steadily under control. Use your chair as balance as much as you need to. And this exercise, again, absolutely great one for balance. Really good if you were walking on an uneven surface. We've balanced it one way, and now we're just counterbalancing it the other way. So just keep that going. We're going to do 3 more. So we're going to lift it up and down, keeping it really slow and really steady. This is one where you will be tempted to go a little bit faster, but really try and keep it very much a controlled movement. Last one. And bring it down. Bring the feet back in. So we're going to go to our final exercise of this section, which is a sit to stand if you're on the chair, or a squat if we are stood up. I'll demonstrate the squat first. So we're going to stand feet about shoulder width apart. Chair is there for balance. We're going to sit ourselves down as if you were sitting onto a chair, and then you just stand yourself back up, pushing strongly through your legs. Only go down as far as works for you. Make sure there's no pain in the knees, and again, make sure that move is nice and controlled. We're going to go for about 10, but if you are doing squats, you may feel you can go for a little bit more. Sit to stand. We're going to bring the feet slightly back. Using the chair if we need to, using our hands, we're going to push ourselves up nice and tall. We're going to feel for the chair with the back of the leg and slowly lower yourself down under control, using your hands again if you need to. So we push nice and tall. We feel for the back of the chair, use our hands if we need to, sit ourselves all the way down. So you can see the movement pattern is the same. Whichever move we're doing, Always make sure if we are using the chair, we know where it is before we sit back down. Be able to feel it just on the back of your legs. And we're just going to do 2 more. So it's nice and strong, pushing up through those legs in that standing phase, controlling as we lower. So we've got our last one. Bring it to a stop, and we've completed our main section. We'll now move on to the cool down. So now we've got to the cool down. So the cool down is used to start to lower our heart rate, to start to ease out all the muscles and the joints we've been working, and we do incorporate 3 stretches as well into this section. So we're just going to start off with our little march, so sitting or standing nice and tall, a little bit of engagement through the abdominals, nice straight back, shoulders back and down. Let's just march it through. So we're going to march for about a minute, and we just want a really nice steady pace. So we're starting to bring everything down, so feel free to just let the arms hang. They might have a nice gentle swing. Just nice and steady, nice and smooth, starting to bring the breathing back a little bit slower. We're just starting to ease everything through, slowing the pace down if you wish to. Just really nice and steady, letting everything start to relax. That's it, just keeping it nice and smooth. Slowing down slightly as we need to, bringing the heart rate back down. That's it. So we're just going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it down to that stop. So we're going to go to 3 stretches now just to stretch out those muscles, and the first of those stretches is going to be our back of thigh stretch. So I want you to move slightly forward on your chair, so you're on the front section of your chair. If you're standing, we're standing nice and tall. We're going to take one leg straight out in front, heel down, toes up. Nice straight leg, sitting nice and tall. Both hands are going to go onto your bent leg. We're going to take a little lean forward from the hips, keeping the back nice and straight, keeping the leg nice and straight. We should feel that stretch in the hamstring, in the back of the leg. We're just going to hold there just for a couple more seconds. Then nice and slowly just bring yourself back up nice and tall. Bring that leg in. Just swap to the opposite side. So taking that leg out, heel down, toes up, leg nice and straight, sitting nice and tall or standing nice and tall. Both hands onto our bent leg. Hinge forward from your hips. So nice straight back. Nice straight leg. Just holding it there again, feeling that stretch down the back. And nice and slowly bring it up, bring that leg in. Our next stretch is going to be the chest stretch. We're stretching across the chest area. So we're just going to sit in again, away from the back of the chair or standing nice and tall. Take the hands either onto the hips, the small of the back, or if you are on the chair, taking a hold of the back of the chair. We're just going to take a little stretch forward in the chest. Just a little gentle easing back of the shoulders. Making sure we feel comfortable, just stretching through those chest muscles, using either that chair, the small of the back, just to help that stretch out. Just a couple more seconds. Nice and slowly release it back out. We're going to go to our last stretch, which is our calf stretch, so stretching into the back of the leg. So for a seated version, we're going to take just one leg out in front nice and straight. For a standing version, we're going to step one leg forward and one leg back. We're going to press down into the back heel, really stretch into that calf. Seated, we're going to pull the toes towards you. Feel as if you're getting that little bit of stretch into that calf. So just holding it there just for a couple of seconds. And then release that side out onto the other side. So seated, we're taking it out. Standing, the other foot forward and back. Pressing down into the back heel if we're standing. Little lean forward onto the front leg. Pulling the toes towards us if we are seated. Just hold it there just for a couple of seconds. Then nice and slowly bring it back up. Just give everything a little shake out. And you are all completed. Thank you very much.